welcome to MsMojo, and in this installment of Versus, we'll be putting the iconic Agatha Christie detectives, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, head-to-head to see who comes up trumps. Both of these classic investigators are renowned for solving almost every single case that has ever come their way. But which is better? We'll be breaking down each detective's skills to decide which is the superior sleuth. But which detective do you think is better and why? Drop us a comment below and let us know. Round 1. Line of questioning. This is a hugely important skill to have in any detective's toolkit. Questioning suspects and witnesses is a key way of revealing information that may come in handy when putting a case together. Poirot prides himself on what he calls his method, and his line of questioning is a huge part of this. The murder of Roger Ackroyd gives us a great insight into how he goes about this. His questions can appear a little abstract and obscure. For instance, he asks Dr. Shepard whether or not there was a fire in the grate at the time the body of Ackroyd was found. This probably isn't the obvious place to begin questioning in a murder case for most people, but it's in this obscureness that Poirot's genius is found. He quickly realizes that Dr. Shepard was the wrong person to ask about the fire. As a doctor, he would have been far more focused on the body. He then changes his line of investigation and questions the butler Parker instead, who has a keen eye and later reveals the key piece of evidence that a chair had been moved. Miss Marple, on the other hand, is far more straightforward with her questioning methods. As an elderly lady and an amateur detective, she doesn't need to be as intelligent as Poirot does. Her appearance and demeanor give her an advantage in getting people to drop their guard and reveal key information accidentally. This allows her to be far more direct and to the point when she is asking questions. For instance, when she takes tea with Bonnie in A Murder is Announced, she is able to establish the key rule that there was a different lamp in the room on the night of the murder simply by chatting and establishing a dialogue. As impressive as Marple is, the grandeur of Poirot's method takes the glory here. Winner, Poirot. Round 2. Methods of deduction. Unlike a lot of traditional detectives, Poirot isn't so keen on hunting for clues. His methods of deduction are based around what he calls his little grey cells, his own brain. Rather than piecing together conclusions from footsteps and fingerprints, Poirot focuses on getting people to talk, and then piecing together the information from there to form a conclusion. In Murder on the Links, Poirot notes 4 key clues at the beginning of the case, but from then on, he is able to draw his conclusions largely based around human psychology. The murder, he finds, is a repeat case, and he's able to find the killer through his theory that human nature does not change. Intriguingly, Miss Marple has an almost identical outlook. Human nature is the same everywhere, or so she finds. Her methods of deduction revolve around making observations and comparing them to people that she knows from her home village, St. Mary Mead. She has a great grasp of the village too. In Murder at the Vicarage, for example, she is seen spying on residents through her binoculars to build her character references to aid in later deductions. This method feels all the more remarkable coming from Marple than it does from Poirot. While it is undoubtedly impressive, Poirot is a world-renowned professional, and it isn't a huge shock to know that his skills are of high quality. But Marple is a mere amateur. Her ability to deduce is incredible for someone who does this just because she wants to. Winner, Marple. Round 3. Revealing the murderer. The most important part of any whodunit. Poirot absolutely lives for this moment. It is his bread and butter. Ever the showman, he relishes the big stage and revels in the ability to reveal the killer in the most dramatic way possible. He usually gathers all of the suspects together in the room before performing a long monologue explaining who the murderer was, what their motives were, and how they pulled it off. It's a show in and of itself, and is one of Poirot's defining features. It's ever been parodied in shows like That Mitchell & Webb Look, Make no mistake, Poirot's big dramatic reveals are total showstoppers and are the highlights of any TV film or novel that he appears in. Miss Marple's big reveals, in contrast, aren't quite as, well, big. It's almost impossible to compete with the hubris of Poirot, so she has a lot to live up to. She can be surprisingly menacing and cold on occasion, such as when she confronts the killer in the 1980s adaptation of Nemesis. But on the whole, she's intrinsically much less showy than her Belgian counterpart. It's fascinating seeing this frail old lady revealing killers, and always makes for a dazzling moment in whatever novel or episode it may be. But it just can't compare to Poirot's electrifying demasking sessions. Pompous and vain it may be, it's just too enjoyable and iconic not to take the spoils this round. Winner, Poirot. Round 4. Commitment to justice. This is the main reason to be a detective, right? Or so you'd think anyway. Poirot undoubtedly cares about justice. It's his job after all. He is a private detective dedicated to solving murder cases. Before that, he was a policeman in his native Belgium. And as he often says, he disapproves of murder. Sounds like a man who's dedicated to justice, right? Well, it's not quite so simple as that. For one thing, Poirot has quite the ego, and sometimes it can feel like his interest in solving crime is less to do with bringing justice, and more to do with the fact that it gives him fame and fortune, and the ability to live the life of luxury he so admires. In addition, he has been known to encourage killers to take their own life rather than face the criminal justice system. Maybe in his head that is justice, but it isn't what we tend to associate with the justice expected of a detective. Marple, on the other hand, has no real motive for investigating other than her deep-seated want for justice. Unlike Poirot, this isn't her profession, and she isn't world-renowned or revered for being a detective. Her involvement in murder cases is either brought about by an associate who trusts her skills or by herself. This demonstrates how genuinely committed she is to the cause. She isn't doing this for any profit or associated luxury, nor does she show any real lapses in judgment like Poirot does. She has to be the most committed to justice. Winner, Marple.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Round 5. Experience. Make no bones about it, both these detectives are highly experienced in their work, having solved countless cases between them. Poirot's adventures have taken him all around the globe. He's investigated crimes in Egypt, France, and Mesopotamia, to name a few locations, and as mentioned earlier, was a policeman back in his homeland of Belgium before moving to the UK. Even after his retirement, in which he intends to grow marrows, he can't help but continue solving cases. He's obsessed with the job, and his lifetime of work in the trade means that he is an almost unimpeachable voice. Marple too has travelled a little bit in her time, most notably to the Caribbean in A Caribbean Mystery, but she doesn't have nearly as much mileage as Poirot in that regard, nor has she solved quite as many cases as him, or got quite the global reputation for investigating. Many of her adventures take place in her home village of St. Mary Mead, and while she unquestionably knows everything there possibly is to know about the village and its residents, that is largely the extent of her experience. She will often use her domestic knowledge in cases referring back to St. Mary Mead when solving crimes elsewhere. It's valuable and impressive, but just goes to highlight that she doesn't have quite the same level of experience as the great Belgian himself. Poirot takes the glory here. Winner, Poirot. It seems those little grey cells have helped see Monsieur Poirot to victory over Jane Marple. But who do you think is superior?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.